also Quran, and I knew all the prayers, I could read Quran, and I learned about the Sharia because I always thought in my family, the more you know about other people, the more you know about yourself, and that's the way to be in peace. When we know about each other, fear of unknown is the worst thing. Most of the fear in the world and the war is people don't know about each other. However, what I see today in Islamic world is such a divided. The majority of the Muslim people are the people that I know, that those are the people that I understand. But there is a small minority which are very active all over the world that they're really and honestly misinterpreting what the Quran is. And Quran, like Jewish, like the Bible, the Jewish Bible, has verses that if you take it out of the context, you can interpret it any way you want. We have so many killing things, you know, you kill this and you kill that, but there's so many other interpretations which says you can't. So what I was wondering, what the majority of the Muslim, the real Muslim of the world, are doing at this time about educating their children and educating the future generation with understanding the Islam rather than going with the interpretation which is going today around the schools all over the world.
Okay, this is how I would answer your question. Oh, by the way, my name is Akil Abdul Shakur, and thank God I was one of the persons that was asked to join a group of American scholars to learn the religion from top to bottom, get a good solid understanding of it, and then go back into the community and try to be a minister, so to speak, for Islam. Okay, so that's who I am. I would answer the question by saying that I think that in every city, every county, every little hamlet around the world, particularly in America, where we have a diverse society, that the churches, the mosques, and the synagogues are doing just that. I think, thank God that we are actually, at least in every masjid that I know, every mosque that I know, no matter what the denomination, it seems that people are on board with your type of thinking. It seems that the greater part of the religious communities are saying that we know that in each of these communities we have these little cancers. You know, we have these little issues that we have to deal with. And unfortunately, there are people who are dead set on interpreting things the way that their lower selves would have them interpreted, so they can accomplish whatever political goals they may have or whatever other types of goals that they have that are outside of the parameters of the religion, or not even in the spirit with their particular prophets, like the prophet Jesus on him be peace, or the prophet Muhammad on him be peace, or the prophet Moses on him be peace. So I think we see that in all the religions. In Islam, we certainly have a group that we've been keeping our eye on for some time. In fact, the Muslim world was the first to actually say that, hey, we have a problem here, and we need help from the world to deal with these problems. Unfortunately, for political reasons, people even use those groups. Some of the Western powers have used those groups, as well as some of the Eastern powers have used those groups so they can accomplish their goals, whatever their political goals are. But the Muslim community, I can say as a person that's in the Muslim community, we are doing everything in our power to, just like in all the rest of the religions, to make sure that the dominant perspective of Islam is being pushed by the people. So we know that, for instance, when you look at groups like ISIS, to be specific, or maybe before them, Al-Qaeda, those types of groups, their agendas are very political, and they're not ambiguous about it. When you read what they're actually pushing, they're not pushing any type of agenda by our Prophet Muhammad. And so it's so simple to look at the teachings of Prophet Muhammad and distinguish them from what it is that these other people are talking about. And if you look at what they actually say they believe, it's very, very political. And I think that with them, with those political agendas, they really put themselves outside of the pale of what it is that we would call Islam in the normal practice. So that's how I would answer that.
Just a little more, to be a little more specific. As far as Muslims are concerned, what are we teaching? our children, the next generation, about Islam. One of the main things that we are teaching our Muslim children, our young adults, is to be more vocal. First, we have to teach them, like you learned, the Sharia. What does it really say? How do we interpret it the correct way? And then the next thing we do is to say, do not be ashamed to go out and say, this is right and this is wrong. Because the biggest criticism that we've had as Muslims is that whenever something goes wrong, we're very slow to reply to that thing that is wrong. It's almost like we're condoning it. So the good Muslims get caught in with the bad Muslims, and we get all put into the same category. We're painted with the same broad stroke. But what we're trying to teach our Muslim believers now is, let's be proactive. Events like this, let's get together. Let's talk to our neighbors. Let's engage. Let them ask us the questions. Allow us to ask them questions. Because the more that we know one another, God said that He had given us our different colors, our different tongues, our different hair textures even. Not so that we may war against one another, but so that we can know one another. This whole concept of trying to get to know one another, understanding what we believe in Islam. If you're my neighbor, it doesn't matter what denomination, what faith you come from, you're my neighbor. That means our prophet said, if you go to bed with an empty stomach, then I am not a follower of his. As my neighbor, I should be able to teach you, I should be able to go to you and say, hey, are you hungry? And it should be vice versa. So what we're doing right now is, across the world, and unfortunately not everyone gets the same message, we're trying to teach this message of Islam so that our voices will be the dominant voices instead of the voices of Daesh, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and such. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, brother.
I understand this is a Shia mosque, and I was wondering if there were any Sunni imams or Sunni representatives here today, and what you guys thought about your relationship here as well as the conflict in the larger world.
Mosque is not Shia and Sunni, you know. Mosque is the God house. Okay. In this mosque, we gather, practicing get together. My 30% crowd in prayers is our brothers, Sunni brothers. In my Sunday school, 40% students from Sunni brothers' child. So there is no differences. You know, some differences of their beliefs. You know, it means not to be fight each other, because the main fundamentals we never fighting and never have an argument on fundamentals. God is one, Prophet is one, Holy Quran is our book, Makkah is our Qibla. It's a fundamental, so we all get together sometime. Okay.
But what about the larger world? If you guys can agree here, are you trying to heal that rift elsewhere?
My name is Jabril Sankofa. I'm American born. I started off as a Southern Baptist. Eventually I became Sunni, and then eventually Shia, if you want to go with the political term Shia. For the most part, there is no major rift between Sunni and Shia throughout the world. You'll find in many places such as Lebanon, Syria, where Palestine, where Shiite communities and Sunni communities are intertwined in marriage. If you go to Iraq, you'll find many Sunni and Shia families that are interconnected through marriage. So most of the time when we hear about this quote-unquote rift, you're hearing it from a perspective of what we call the Wahhabi perspective. And that's that cancer that Brother Akil referred to before. And just to go back a little bit, when the sister referred to Sharia, we have to make a distinction. Most people, when they say Sharia, they're referring to the Islamic penal code, but Sharia for a Muslim is the totality of their life. From the moment they get up in the morning to the time we, rest in the grave, all of that is Sharia. So when people talk about Sharia, typically they're talking about the penal code, which is similar to the Jewish holiday. So that's going back to that rift, that's typically from a small cancer out of Saudi Arabia that has unfortunately spread to other portions of the world. But for the most part, I can go to any masjid in Atlanta, Georgia, throughout the United States and pray as a Muslim. I can go to West End where there's a predominantly Sunni community. People know me. I pray as a Shia. They recognize me as a Shia, and there's no issue. I've been overseas. I pray as a Shia in Sunni masjids. There's no issue. The only time that becomes an issue is when you have an extreme fundamentalist component in that masjid. But for the most part, 98% of Muslims, there's no issue.
Then, forgive me for my misunderstanding then, at the school that I went to, at public school, when we were learning about the major religions, that was one of the topics that came up about the rift, and it was described by my teachers as very, very violent and very divided, and I was unaware that it is now very little.
You can go to a place like synagogue, for example, and you'll find during the holy month of Ramadan, the month of fasting, you'll find Christians fasting on the holy month of Ramadan out of respect for the Muslims, and you'll find Muslims who recognize the Christian holiday of Christmas. Just out of respect. It's not that the Muslims are acquiescing, it's not that the Christians are acquiescing. It's just a mutual respect for each other. So, based upon demographics and location, that relationship can be very dynamic. You may go to some places, like in certain areas of Canada, where Sunnis and Shia, they have a mixed community. Then you have other areas where you have a definitive Shia community and a definitive Sunni community, but there's mutual admiration and love for each other. I hope that answers your question.
It does, thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Sharif Ali. I'd like to add a component that, has been missing from this discussion, and that is the role of the media. The role of the media have played a very significant part in this perception of Islam as being this violent, religion. That these people, that are Muslim, they have almost criminalized the religion of Islam. So, if you criminalize the religion of Islam, then all of the Muslims become suspect. You see? But when other people go out and they commit crimes or they do things that are wrong, their religions are not mentioned. Okay? If you do the statistics on how many murders are committed here in the U.S., we don't hear, that, okay, the majority of the murders that are committed here in the U.S. are Christian or they're Jewish or they're Hindu or so forth and so on. They don't do those type of statistics. So the perception that that has been put out there about Islam is like this, but in reality, it is not. And as it has been stated, when you look at the teachings, of the Quran, and you look at the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, you will find that these people it's like they have another religion, because it is not the same book, and it is not the traditions of the Prophet that they are following. Like Malana had mentioned about jihad. Jihad is a defensive thing. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, he stayed in the holy city of Mecca where he was born and raised at for 13 years. He was persecuted. For 13 years, his followers were killed and tortured. To the point that they had to be ran out. It was a non-violent movement, okay, of the Prophet. It didn't start off this way, okay? Until finally, okay, it was a matter of a survival of the religion, okay? That Allah gave the permission to defend ourselves, okay? So, the perception of Islam, it's not like by accident, but it's really by design that it has been put out there. And discussions like this are very necessary, okay? It's very good that we come together, different faiths, okay, from different walks of life, to ask these questions and to have these discussions to become familiar with each other, okay, and to learn about each other, to learn the truth, okay, about each other. Sometimes, we live in a world almost that whereas that before we see each other's humanity, we see that, oh, that person is Jewish, or that person is a Christian, or that person is a Muslim, right? We must see each other's humanity first, okay? Regardless of what faith or whatever you may belong to or not belong to, okay? We are one like each other in humanity, okay? And this another thing to add about jihad. One time the Prophet was coming back from a battle that he had in defense of Islam, and Allah had made the people become victorious with him. And on his way back into the town, he had instructed and said to his followers, okay, our brothers and sisters, he says, now you have to prepare for the greatest battle, the greatest war. And they said, what is that? After coming out of an intense conflict like this. And he said, that is the war, the struggle against the self, the struggle against the Lord desires, okay, against evilness and wickedness, Even in jihad, there are rules, okay, of the rules of engagement. This is before the Nuremberg trials, okay? The Prophet had instructed us, okay, that no women, no children, no elderly are to be harmed, even in war, even in fighting, okay? There's no justification for that. So there are even rules of engagement, that we can't poison the water or cut the trees down or things like that, okay? Or kill or harm the animals, So, the thing is that we must, communicate, and, more with each other to learn about what is the true teachings of each other, And I think the more we do that, the better. Because, my thing is this here. Have someone told or put in the minds of people that, we can't come together and have a discussion? We can't come together and know each other? We should not allow anyone to try to control our mind like that. And I thank the one above, I thank Allah for all of you to be courageous enough, okay, to come out, okay, and have accepted our invitation, okay, and to come down and see, to know and get familiar with each other. Thank you.
For the young man who asked the question, and I'll be very brief. One of the biggest problems that we do have, I want to clarify two things. Number one, the history that you get in the textbooks, a lot of it hadn't been vetted. There was a textbook that my daughter had in school that said that they made it out to be like it was a family thing, where this big rift in Islam came in that. The truth of the matter is that there was a rift, and that rift was bloody, and some of that rift has flowed through until today. I think the most important thing for us to understand about that rift is what was the crux, what was the thing that made that rift something that still manifests today. It all became a thing of, are we going to deal with truth, or are we going to deal with falsehood? There were those who, when the truth came, with all the prophets of God, when the truth came to the people, there were always those who were opposed For our Christian brothers and sisters, when Isa ben Maryam, when Jesus Christ came, he had the Pharisees and the Sadducees, who were the doctors of religion, religious knowledge. They didn't agree with Jesus, and when he died, there was a rift. During the time of Moses, may the peace and blessing of God be upon him. Even within his lifetime, there were those who said, you know, we're going to follow the way of Moses, and then those who said that we won't follow the way of Moses. We know about the golden calf. That's a rift. We know about when they were supposed to go into the promised land, they sent 12 individuals into Canaan to figure out what was going on. 2 came back and said, it's time for us to go. 10 came back and said, no, we're not going to go. This was a rift. Now, some of those rifts, like when you had the calf that was fashioned, a lot of times we don't think about it, but the Bible says that those who were on the side of Moses, they pulled their swords and they slayed those. This is a rift. It's about good and evil. And as long as there's good, as long as there are going to be people who want to promote the truth, there's going to always be a group of people who want to promote the evil. It is our job, going back to the sister's question in the beginning, what are we teaching? We have to teach that we stand up for the right, even if we have to bear witness against ourselves. So I hope that clears up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. If all you guys were to give like a message to every single American with their undivided attention to sway them towards peace, what would that be? Peace as religions.
Can I answer one question? So I just one word will tell you. The religion of Islam, we store everything in one word. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now that is Arabic, right? But what is the English translation? We say in the name of God, the most beneficent and merciful. You see these two words, beneficent and merciful. These are the two words which actually binds the whole, it encompasses the whole religion. So, to answer your question, how can we be beneficent to each other, right? And merciful to each other. That's the two things, nothing else matters. Humanity, what he said about humanity, beneficent and mercifulness. These two things are a universal concept. Every person, every human being on this earth knows what it is. So, what you said is how can we teach others to be that accepting of each other is to show, help each other out by any means, as what he said, help thy neighbor, right? That's the saying of Jesus Christ. Help thy neighbor, that's the same thing in Quran. Our Prophet said, if your neighbor goes hungry, that means you have not committed to myself or to the Lord. And that is one very important thing. So it starts with that. Like this is a small gathering. Now, see, I'm kind of a mathematics guy. So I always say there's a law of recursion, right? There's just something called recursiveness. How does a rabbit multiply? That's how the Fibonacci series and all that. So what I look at it from that perspective is to say, hey, you know what? I've got 15 people, 20 people working with me right now, trying to answer questions, ask questions, answer them. Now they'll take something from me, I'll take something from them, and then I'll go and do the same thing to the others. So that recursiveness, like pyramid chain, yeah, selling, same thing, right? So what I want is you take these two words and you go out and you say, I'm going to do this and teach it to the other people. And that recursion and the Fibonacci series, like a rabbit multiplies and a bird gets, same thing we need to do. And this is a starting point. I'm sorry, I'm looking at that side. This is a starting point. We started something like this, and we want to continue I want more and more people. I'm not interested in any political agendas or anything. What I want to see is how we can come together, benefit each other, be merciful to each other, and that's how we create love within ourselves. Christian religion says the same thing, Islam says the same thing, Jewish religion. So what is different here? What is the common denominator? These are the two words. You tell me, anybody can tell me you're wrong. If you think all three major Abrahamic religions says about beneficence and mercifulness, anybody can tell me if I'm wrong. That is the least common multiplier, what we call in mathematics, right? So that is what I'm thinking is we start with that. Just start with that. You can go in your school.